How do I look? Don't lie to me.
Welcome back to the shop, guys. Today's going to be a little bit different than normal and probably a little shorter than other videos, but today we're going to be tackling this bathroom cabinet, vanity, whatever you want to call it, that another carpenter has built. So without further ado, let's get to it. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix these cabinets. When I first saw the cabinet, there were a few things that I saw that tell me that this thing was probably built pretty well, but it was built in a hurry. There's swirl marks all over the place from a sander. There's globs of stain that didn't get wiped off good before they put a finish on it. And these drawers are not in the same parallel universe as the rest of the doors and cabinets. Now, it's going to be really hard to fix all the swirl marks and the globs of stain without going down to bare wood, but these drawers are something that we can fix hopefully pretty easy. So let's tackle that first. Okay, so that really wasn't that difficult. Now all of our drawers and doors are in the same parallel universe. They're square and plumb, and they're parallel to the sides of the cabinet. So now we have a nice clean square look on the front. Now we can focus our attention to the side. You're probably wondering, why isn't this completed? Well, that's because for some reason the carpenter thought that this was going up against a wall. It's not, it's going in the middle of the restroom. And this side in particular is going to be right next to the toilet, which means you're going to have to look at this hot mess while making a hot mess. And obviously my customers don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 1/2 inch thick sheet of maple plywood, which is the same as all the other products on the cabinet. We're going to match it to the same stain and clear coat it after we attach it to the side. But for some reason this carpenter did not make this side plumb. It's an 1/8 of an inch deeper in on the bottom than it is on the top. So we have a few options. I could just attach the plywood and then plane and sand down this strip to match the side, but then from the front, you're either going to notice that this is angled or you're going to think that the drawers are out of whack. So we don't want that. We just spent all this time fixing this. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to take an 1/8 inch sheet of stock, probably a hardwood. We're going to glue it to the bottom, and then we're going to attach the plywood to the side after that. That way, the plywood will be pretty close to flush here, and it won't be that much of an eyesore. If there's any excess, we can sand it there. guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm sorry it was so short and sweet, but it was a short and sweet job. There's a lot more we could have done to it. This thing was held together with nothing but staples, glue, and the leftover hopes and dreams of 2020. And we both know that's not a lot. And that's especially saying something because this is going to be a floating cabinet. It's going to be 8 inches off the ground and secured to a wall through the back. And then they're going to put a granite countertop on top of it. That's a lot of weight to be held by nothing but staples. So off camera, me and the customer added some structural support. So hopefully this thing doesn't rip off the wall while you're trying to take a deuce. Otherwise, I guess you won't be taking a deuce anymore because you'll be scared poopless. Now, you're probably wondering why was I inside then outside? Well, that's because stain does not like cold, and right now in Georgia, it's cold as balls. So what I did is I opened up all the windows, put on a respirator, applied the stain, and then I left the house. I came back a few hours later, moved the cabinet into the shop, but left the windows open so it could off gas for hours afterwards. That way, by the time we all went back into the home, there were no more fumes and there was no danger anymore. Now, I did the lacquer outside, and that's because I don't trust that stuff. This is very scientific, but bear with me. If you inhale lacquer, the lacquer fumes actually seep into your brain and replace all of your naughty thoughts with cancer. And you want to try and keep as many naughty thoughts as possible. So do your due diligence, don't get cancer, and wear a respirator and make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. And don't take the respirator off until you're away from the project or it has off-gassed completely. You might be wondering, how did I know what stain to use? I didn't. I actually knew I was going to have to buy a sheet of plywood, so what I did is I went to Lowe's, got the sheet of plywood, and had my wife distract the paint guy. When he wasn't looking, I popped open a few lids on the stain and added a few test streaks on the side. Brought it home, compared it to the cabinet, and then once I picked out the stain and bought it, I tested it in an inconspicuous place to make sure that it did actually match. Now, after that, the rest was pretty easy peasy, and this was a small job, but I take every single small job I can because those small jobs lead to big jobs in the future. If these customers really like my work, they might hire me to make all the cabinets for them in the future or refer me to a family member. These particular customers already order a bunch of other stuff from me, like cutting boards and furniture, so this is just another avenue of income I can add to my repertoire. But either way, I really hope you guys liked this video. If you have any questions about how to modify your own cabinets or something you stole from your in-laws when they weren't looking, I'm not going to judge you. Please leave a comment below. I'd love to answer your questions. If you like what you saw, hit the red subscribe button. It helps me buy a heater for the shop. It's cold. Either way, have a good day. Thanks, guys.